Hey everyone, my name is Maddie. I'm an aspiring journalist and I'm in the middle of nowhere in Canada right now. This week's interview is with my Canadian friend Karli, who I met in Laos in June in 2024. Karli and I are just wrapping up a 10-day road trip and we filmed each segment of this interview in a different location. In between the segments, you'll get to see the beautiful view of the Rocky Mountains that we got to see while driving across. The first thing that I learned from Karli in this interview was that at our core, we're all energetic and chemical beings. Good.
So I can't remember where I heard it. I don't think it was my original thought, so I can't even give credit to the person. But we were talking about energetics and anxiety and depression, and we also talked a couple days ago how I believe at the core we are energetic and chemical beings, and all of our experiences come back to some sort of energetic or chemical interaction. And I think without scientific backup, data and research, I think a large influence to depression and anxiety would be, if you look back 200 years, before the introduction of technology, we lived in spaces like this, where the only stimuli that we had from the environment was trees, the air, the temperature. And now we live in cities that are so full of energy and stimuli. Newton's law, energy can't be created or destroyed, that we're getting bombarded by radio waves, internet waves, sound waves, light waves, flashing lights, internet. We're getting bombarded by so much advertisements in the cities, and we're surrounded by so many people that are stressed out. So we're just outside stimuli is so overwhelming that our body we want to find balance, we want to find harmony. And because our bodies are so occupied and overwhelmed with processing the outside stimuli, the world is up here, which in order to find balance, our bodies and our insides have to be like this. And so we can't find that balance because we're so busy processing the outside that I think that's a partial influence of that anxiety and depression, because the body is operating so low in order to compensate for the such high outside stimuli. And then you talk to people and they go, I feel so refreshed and recharged in nature. I just feel energized and I feel peaceful in places like this. And it's because we're at that more equilibrium homeostasis where I don't have to deal with processing this outside stimuli. So I'm now able to have my inside of the body come up to a neutral level that feels more complete, holistic, satisfying, whatever word you choose, because the body is always trying to find that homeostasis. But if we live in such high outside stimuli environments, our inside brain chemicals, energetics are just trying to process, and they don't have the capacity to be where we want to be content.
Yeah. So how does it affect you to live in such a highly stimulating world?
It's an interesting one, because I noticed that I don't necessarily notice the stimuli itself, but I notice how the people around me react to the stimuli. So I'm more likely to notice if I walk into a space and it's like, yeah, this feels funny, or oh, the people are acting funny, or oh, this person is acting funny. And so I'm more likely to respond to the people in an environment to bring awareness, because I don't necessarily notice the physical aspects of, oh, it feels high vibration, oh, it feels low vibration. I use people as my method and my medium almost to be like, they're showing me what the environment's like, and through the people, I then can identify kind of what the stimulus is like and what the vibe, the feel is like. People have a larger effect on me than the environment itself. I can adapt pretty easily to high light, low light, large noise, little noise. Those stimuli don't affect me directly, but if I'm in a room of people that are very overwhelmed by high sound, then I'm influenced by the people.
How did this come to be?
As everything's rooted in childhood, and I noticed that just kind of from birth I've always been a natural middleman that's kind of weaved in between different fields of people, different types of people. My mom and my dad have always been separate. I was no divorce, so it was very civil. But who I was on mom's side, when I was with mom, as soon as I got into dad's truck, I kind of had to adapt based on his reactions in the environment that I was in. My one side of the family is more blue collar, the other one's white collar. So when I go to Christmases, it's like, okay, here's how some behaviors can be in this environment, but then you change the behaviors for this environment because different people react to the different environments differently. So I kind of adapt myself according to the people. Even in places like high school, I was friends with the cool kids, I was friends with the popular kids, because okay, what's the environment, what are people like? I can almost chameleon myself to adapt to them. And so it's been a fun little, if I had to analyze throughout just childhood, I respond very well to the people as my prompt of the stimuli in the environment.
And this was because there was mum's world and there was dad's world, and they were so different, and you formed strategies to sort of function in both environments?
Almost, yeah. Which I also think of as a good thing. There's so many people that grew up in split families that, granted, lots of situations can prompt kind of negative what have you be it. So I'm very fortunate that it was neutral from the start. My parents always respected each other, but I also like to think that I'm very fortunate to have a positive perspective on growing up in split households, because then it allowed me to see different ways of living. I was able to see that, oh, here's how blue collar can live, here's how white collar can live. Neither is better, neither is worse. They both have their pros, they both have their cons. I get to kind of pick which parts of each world I want to adapt into myself. And so part of that too is then I have more tools in my tool belt when it comes to reacting to stimuli around me. Okay, this is this particular environment, I've seen this happen with this part of the family, the people. I'm going to take this tool that I developed from here, and now I can apply it, because it's recognizing pattern, recognizing the tools needed, recognizing tools other people use, and going, that's what they did, okay, I'm going to borrow that. So growing up in that split was very, I think, fortunate, because it allowed me to be curious and inquisitive and open-minded, and just in a way non-judgmental too, of there's no one right or wrong way.
Okay, so we talked about people, and since we're on the topic of people and relationships, I was wondering if you could tell me about your perspective on love languages, because you're such an acts of service kind of girl, and most of my friends are words of affirmation people, so actually through you, I've learned that I can feel loved, even if people don't tell me I love you.
Yes.
So please share.
For those that don't know, there's 5 love languages so far. There's acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, quality time, and gifts. So kind of they're different ways that you express your affection towards someone else. And one of the things I find fascinating about them is a lot of people give love the way that they want to receive love. And so for a long time, I thought that I was words of affirmation. I love hearing words of affirmation, but since being on the road trip with you, I've realized that, actually acts of service is a lot stronger of a love language for me. And it's just very fascinating, because it's, to some people, actions speak louder than words. To some people, I can't read your mind, so I need to hear it from your mouth. For some people, it's, I need to be shown appreciation through gifts. For some people, it's like you show appreciation by taking something off their plate.
You said to me, we were at the theatre the other day, and there was a play, and someone had a couple had a fight, and then they made up, and I was really upset, because I was like, the guy didn't apologize. And you were like, well, there's 5 different ways of apologizing also.
At least that way. Because one of the love languages, there's probably more than just the 5, but it's a really nice base to start putting language to things. But yeah, there's multiple ways to apologize too. Just like there's different ways of being acknowledged for appreciation. There's different ways of acknowledging apologies. So let's say if words of affirmation is really important to me, don't bring me roses.
And before I go catch my flight, because we're in such a rush, I want to ask you, how do you allow others to feel connected to you? Like, how do you open your heart to others?
I like telling stories is one of the main ways, because to me it's also multifaceted. Telling stories, it's me using words to bring someone else into my life. It's quality time, because we're spending that time together. It's an act of service, because I'm bringing them into a story. I'm showing them part of my life. Might not be so much gifts, but to me those are kind of my top love languages. And then sometimes stories, you're sitting down beside the person, and when you get really excited, you lean over and touch their arm, so that's the physical touch side of things too. So stories I really enjoy, people asking questions, being curious about your life and just asking beautiful questions like we have this whole road trip.
Yes, yes. Thank you, my love.
My favorite quote, it might not even be a quote, but one of the things that I love, it's 3 words. It says, yes, even you. And for me, it was just a really nice reminder of, let's say in university, I saw all these beautiful people coming from all over the world. They would go do semesters abroad, they would travel abroad, they had all these opportunities, and I would tell myself, oh, it's great for them, but that can't happen for me. And then as time went on, I realized, yes, even you, those great experiences can happen to even you. But then also I like the phrase because it's very beautifully applicable to the other direction too, where when you see hardships and sad things happen in people's lives, you go, oh man, that's so sad for them. But yes, even you, that can even happen to you. So it's a very empowering yet humbling and just soft and connecting phrase that I think is simple yet very powerful.
Thank you, Karli, for your insight. I love you so much, and thanks everyone for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.